to Off the Record, talking real estate with Joe and Makayla. If you're interested in the Portland, Oregon real estate market and want the unvarnished inside scoop, you've come to the right place. Thanks for giving us a listen. Okay, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. Hi, Makayla.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic.
It's been a minute since we've been in the studio.
I know. You know how June goes.
Busy.
Busy. We had to go visit family, and then we had family come visit us, and you guys have been going.
I know. We've had birthdays and graduations and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. June is always a busy time.
It is.
And just so, you know, for you folks out there wondering, June is a pretty slow real estate month for the most part. I mean, we've been super busy right now, but a lot of our properties that we're representing, homes that we're selling, are just not getting a lot of action. And it's just people are doing stuff. You know, kids get out of school, and it's just a really weird lull in the action. And then it seems like after 4th of July, things just really pick up.
Yeah, I agree. It's weird because it's so busy from April, May that you kind of forget that you're going to have this little lull in June. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, there is no one out looking at homes. I agree. It's been weird.
4th of July to like, what would you say, September, October?
Yeah.
Things get pretty nutty. So anyways, we've taken a little time off, but we're back.
Back at it.
Podcasting.
We really wanted to talk about all these wineries we have here in Oregon because we've been going wine tasting a lot lately, and we thought, what a fun idea for an episode. So naturally with that, we have to drink some Oregon grown Pinot Noir.
Yeah. So
how
for
do you like
those
it?
of you watching, you can see our full pours.
Yeah. I thought we were just going to taste it, but Joe's not messing around.
No, come on now. I'm a seasoned vet when it comes to wine.
So tell us about what we're drinking, Joe, even though I brought the bottle.
Yeah. This is a Stoller Family Estates 2022 Pinot. And God darn it, is it good.
It is really good.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You know, I found the wine that we have here in Oregon is absolutely up there with any of them that are out there. I love Alexander Valley down in California, and we can talk about all that. But what we have here in Oregon is really special, and it's gotten to be world renowned.
There was so much research I did on this episode, and it was so overwhelming. And I think I've, obviously known about it growing up here, but we've gone wine tasting a little more often recently, which is fun. And it's crazy when you're out in Newburgh and you look at the map and you zoom out, and there's like 50 wineries within 10 minutes. It's like insane how many there are. So, yeah.
For those of you that know wine country, hopefully we can add a little bit of flavor and some real estate to this, to your insights. For those of you that aren't familiar with wine country, even if you're not a wine drinker, oh my gosh, the wineries are beautiful. And the views, most of them have incredible views. And just, if for nothing else, even if you're not a wine drinker and you just want to get out and about and explore Oregon, going to wine country and visiting 2 or 3 wineries, if nothing else, you're going to come away relaxed because it's so beautiful. And most of them have these wonderful chairs to sit there and drink your wine and look at the beautiful scenery. And it's a really cool thing.
It's so pretty. I don't know about you, but every time we go wine tasting, by the end of the tour, I'm always convinced that I myself need to be growing grapes as well. Like, where does this confidence come from?
Where are you going to do that?
Barely grow tomatoes.
Do you think your dogs would allow that?
No, but it's really fun to look at the real estate in the area and see what, types of properties are for sale that might have grapes on them.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the wine industry first, and then we'll talk real estate in the wine industry. Some of it's eye-popping, but we'll kind of give you some insights and also some how-tos and what not to do and all that sort of good stuff. So I'm super excited about this. We were coming back from vacations, and I told Makayla, we got to get back on the schedule for our podcast. And she was like, absolutely. I've got the perfect topic. And when you said wine country, I was like, are we going to wine country? You had me so excited.
We should have.
Instead, we're here in the Live Portland studios again. Why didn't we do this at Stoller?
Hey, we brought the good wine at least.
Yeah, you did.
It's a start.
You did.
It's a start. So I don't know if you've read this, Joe, but I thought it would be fun to look at the Wikipedia description of Oregon wine country.
I always enjoy Wikipedia. Fire away.
Okay, sweet. I just want to read it. So the state of Oregon in the United States has established an international reputation for its production of wine, ranking 4th in the country behind California, Washington, and New York.
That shocks me.
I gotta say, I'm a little bugged by that. We gotta be above New York. No?
I'm going to go ahead and say quality over quantity there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
Washington and
Wikipedia.
California. Yeah, I get it. You guys rock.
Mm-hmm.
I've done wine adventures in both of those states, and you cannot go wrong. But New York?
I know.
I don't think so.
Seems like not a place I would be drinking wine. But anyways, winemaking dates back to pioneer times in the 1840s with commercial production beginning in the 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
Pinot Noir and Pinot Gris are the top 2 grapes in town with over 59,000 short tons harvested in 2016.
That's a lot of grapes.
It's a lot of grapes. Oregon winemakers sold just under 3.4 million cases in 2016 as well.
Crazy.
With 908 wineries in Oregon, a tourism industry has developed around wine tasting. We know that very well.
Mm-hmm.
Much of the tourism focuses on the wineries and tasting rooms in and around the Yamhill Valley, southwest of Portland. It's estimated that eno-tourism contributed $207 million to the state economy in 2013.
That's enotourism? Is that what that's called?
Well, that's what Wikipedia says, but I've always known it as agrotourism, right?
That's what I thought it was too. Agrotourism.
We're going to call it agrotourism.
Yeah. I don't know about Wikipedia on that one,
Hey,
but it's interesting.
Fun to read the description.
Yeah. And that gives you a nice little overview of what we're talking about. If you're thinking Oregon wine country, what's the big deal? 908 wineries, for crying out loud.
And only growing.
Yeah. Real estate wise, it's so interesting because we represent some clients right now, a couple of different ones, who have the ability to grow grapes and plant and all that sort of stuff. So we've done our homework, done our research. We know what you can, what you can't do. Mm-hmm. And boy, when it comes to wineries in Oregon here, every single one of the counties is very eager to help out.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you want to put an Airbnb or an ADU or something like that, you better come ready to do battle. But if you tell them you want to grow grapes or do a winery, boy, they walk you to the VIP room and it's like, how can we help?
It's making them money.
It is making them a lot of money.
Let's talk about the different regions. So
Okay.
I'm most familiar with the Willamette Valley, but it gets broken down into 3 regions, which is the Willamette, Umpqua, and the Columbia Gorge.
Mm-hmm. So Willamette is up and down the corridor and where we do all of our wine tasting and adventures.
Which is known for its Pinot Noir, which we know, but it's a good reminder.
Which is what we're drinking right now.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Umpqua Valley is in more southern Oregon, and it's because of the warmer climate that it produces a different
drier
type of grape. Yeah,
beautiful
wine.
Country down there. Medford to Roseburg, that stretch through there.
And I haven't noticed a lot of wineries driving through there, but I'm sure they're all over the place. And I also don't drive down there all the time.
Yeah, I think you got to get off I-5 to take a peek at all that.
Yeah, and I don't do that. So,
no.
And then the Columbia Gorge, which is considered Eastern Oregon's high desert, says, this is ChatGPT, you guys. Just this little sentence.
You did not.
I did too.
Cheater.
Listen to this sentence. It's so Eastern Oregon's high desert surprises with unique microclimates for varietals like Riesling and Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a lot.
I read this before we went on air here, and I had to call Makayla. I was like, really? Is that AI?
I promise it's the only thing. Our good old friend ChatGPT.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, Columbia Gorge is awesome. We've had real estate projects out there. We've sold land out there, sold homes out there. And it is absolutely beautiful. And a lot of the wine is on the other side of the river over in Washington, up towards Walla Walla. We're going to talk about favorite wineries here in a little bit, but Seven Hills Winery in Walla Walla. Have you ever heard of that one?
I have. Have you been?
Oh, yeah. It's Stephanie and I's favorite. It's fantastic. They make a Cabernet that is off the charts.
Ooh, and that's your favorite.
Mm-hmm. I like
know.
to drink my Cabernet with a spoon. I like it thick, rich.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
I never heard that little term before. That's funny.
Yeah, I just made that up.
So even as locals, we will go and stay closer into wine country just to get the full experience. And usually when you're sitting in these tasting rooms, there's people from New York, Idaho, all over the country and all over the world. But no, we'll rent an Airbnb 45 minutes away. You don't want to drive after a day of wine tasting.
I love talking to those people too. And they're like, where are you from? And we're like, Hillsboro. Where's that? Just outside of Portland. But why wouldn't you go if you live here?
Totally. Yeah. It's just, it's logistically makes way more sense to stay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's funny. Yeah. Talking to people.
So Columbia Gorge is fantastic. All three of those areas couldn't be more different too. And it shows in the wines and in the grapes that they make, which is kind of a cool thing.
I agree. So when I was doing the research, I was trying to find some kind of list that ranked the wineries here, which is nearly impossible to find because...
Ranking in Willamette Valley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was trying to find rankings for each different area, but there are 2 Google search pages of, different TripAdvisor, whatever, that are ranking these wineries. And so that's kind of hard to find, but I thought it was interesting. And out of all the lists, only there was a couple themes throughout. So, but it was interesting to look at. But one of the list that I did find was from KGW from last year.
Oh.
And there are 6 wineries in Oregon that were on this top prestigious wine top 100 list. So we wanted to share that with you. One is number 9.
Jeez Louise.
On the list, which is a pretty big deal. And
I have not
feel
been
bad
to that one either.
because I don't know how to pronounce it, and I haven't been.
Resonance.
Okay. I guess that was hard.
It's got the little French umlaut there.
It's too fancy for me.
Yeah. Resonance. Can we say it that way?
Sure.
Yeah.
So
if you're from Resonance and you're hearing this and we're pronouncing it wrong,
we're so sorry.
Send us a case of your wine. We'll review it and you can tell us how to pronounce it.
It only seems fair. We'll review it live too.
Yeah, that's right. So hit us with the top 6.
So after that one, number 16 is Domaine Druhin. Okay. Yeah. Pinot Noir, Dundee Hills, Lorraine. And that one was one of the wineries that was on most of the other lists that I looked at. Yeah. So if you're on the hunt for a winery to visit, I would highly suggest that one. Number 20 is Purple Hands Pinot Noir, Willamette Valley, Lone Oak Ranch. Have you been there? Oh. Number 32 is Bergstrom Pinot Noir, Chehalem Mountains.
Solis. Been there.
Wow, look at you. Number 56, Archery Summit Pinot Noir, Willamette Valley. How do I say that?
Verton.
Okay, see, you should just be reading this.
And I've been there too. And it's fantastic.
Is it?
Oh, all of these are worthy of a visit.
And then number 69 is the Ken Wright Pinot Noir, Eola, Amity Hills.
I feel like I've been to Eola, Amity Hills, but I don't know.
That's pretty far out there, but I'm sure you have.
I don't know if I've been to that one or not. But that's pretty impressive to have 6 wineries in the top 70. Good Lord.
And that was just last year.
I'd like to know how they're ranking them. Ambiance, obviously the wine and the flights they have. And
so this one was like a prestigious wine list. So this was specifically the wine itself that they made in 2023.
Got it. This goes by wine.
Mm-hmm. Oh. And then I looked at the TripAdvisor list because that's what I look at when I'm planning my wine tours.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. Because that's all.
I never would have gone to TripAdvisor for that.
Well, it pops up like number 2. So.
Oh, good.
Google search. No, I don't do that much hunting.
I'm
for
old.
It.
I don't trust the sponsored ones. I'm like, no, I want the organic.
I totally get that, but they use all the reviews and compile it based on reviews and rank them from there.
Yeah, I get it.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty interesting to look at. They rated it to like 25, but I pulled the top 10. Joe, do you want to read the top 10 for us?
I do. So number 10, Brooks Wine. Not familiar. Mm-mm. Sounds interesting. Stoller Family Estate. Chin chin. Yep. This is us
we'd have to
drinking
agree.
Stoller. Commercial break. Mm-hmm.
Sorry if you hear us swallowing.
Oh, my goodness.
That was really good.
It's delightful. We need to incorporate some aspect of Oregon wine country into all of our podcasts from now on.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll sponsor us.
Maybe we'll do this later in the day as well.
Yeah, this is a little risque.
Well, yeah. The workout ain't happening now. So number 9, Stoller. Number 8, Domaine Druhin, which is probably not how you pronounce that, but I like that place a lot. Marchese Vineyards. Have you heard of that one?
No.
I have not been, but sounds fantastic. Number 6, Dancing Vineyards.
Hadn't heard of that either.
My wife, Stephanie, would be all over that.
Yes,
they do dancing there? Now, is it folk or country or, Zumba? What are we doing?
Okay, she's not a 95-year-old.
I need to put a different voice to her, but yeah.
She would. We should go for research purposes.
Number 5, Natalie's Estate Winery. Haven't done that one. Is it King Estate Winery or King's Estate Winery? I think it's King's Estate.
I saw King, but...
King? Okay. Maybe it's a different one. King Estate Winery and Tasting Room. Number 3, Archery Summit Winery. And that place is beautiful. Mm-hmm. These are, you'll be amazed.
They're all beautiful.
They're all amazing. And the architecture on some of these, most of these, is incredible.
State of the art.
Yeah, really, really cool. Number 2, Domaine Serene Vineyards and Winery, which another spot that's absolutely gorgeous. You could get married there.
Oh, thanks.
Maybe your next marriage.
I'll do it again. Wasn't expensive or anything. You want to fund that one?
Yeah, I'm thinking over a flight. I buy you a flight. I'm also licensed, obviously, to get people married. So
we'll just do it.
Could make it happen. Number 1, I feel like we need music or something, but Willamette Valley Vineyards. That's crazy. Well, I mean, this is a TripAdvisor top 10. So I'm guessing it's on visits and all of the reviews. And
yeah, that one's pretty accessible. And
yeah, it is accessible. Yeah. So now we get to talk about our top wineries.
Yes.
I'm going to go first because I love your list, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. My number 3 is Domaine Serene. Just the ambiance and the tasting room and everything about it. And the people are super, super nice there. Really, really nice. They're nice all over the place, but these people take it to another level. And it's just a great experience there. I've always had good visits there.
Oh, that's so cool. That one's high on a lot of the lists.
Yep.
It does not surprise me.
Yep. And then what was my number 2? Yeah, the Domaine Dream. I guess that's the Dundee. That's the wine, but it's Dundee Hills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We were saying earlier how much we liked Amatera too, and you said that might be up there.
Yeah, Amatera in Portland is fantastic.
It's beautiful.
A winery right in Southwest Portland with amazing views, great dinners, great restaurant. A lot of weddings go on there too. Mm-hmm. They're proud, is what I've heard. Very expensive.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
That goes without saying, I think.
And you can Uber there. So there's that. A lot of these places, be pretty spendy.
You're not going to Uber to Domaine Serene.
No, probably not.
I mean, you could, but...
I don't know if you're getting back in an Uber.
No, probably not. My number 1, and this is a little insider secret, but Kana's Feast.
Oh,
yes, in Carlton, Oregon. For those of you that don't know where Carlton is, it's in between Yamhill and McMinnville. And if you don't know where those are, Google Maps.
Look it up. I'm staring at a bottle of it on your counter.
I know. So friends of the show, Mark and Sarah.
Oh,
I know. We love them so much. We helped them buy a home in Carlton, and they bought a house, 3 doors down from Kana's Feast Winery? Well,
I'm just kidding.
A few doors down. In the neighborhood, let's say. And it is a wonderful place. It's so beautiful. And you sit out there and you just see the rolling hills, and the wine is wonderful. And I think it's my favorite right now.
Everyone's so nice there too. And they have that covered patio that's humongous. Mm-hmm. A lot of these places get hot in the summertime, and
that one does too, but they have good shade.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's comfortable. And
maybe it's just because I like visiting my friends, Mark and Sarah.
Maybe.
That Kana's Feast is my favorite, but
I'm so jealous they can walk there.
I know. The wine is fantastic. And the little treats that they'll give you, or that you can buy, are not bad either.
No.
The food, that will make or break a winery for me, whether they have decent food to go with their wine.
Any at all, because a lot of them don't. The
yeah.
last wine tour we did, we went to 3 wineries and not one of them had food. It was getting dangerous.
Ooh, empty tummy tasting?
Yeah, it's not ideal.
No bueno.
Okay, I want to talk about my top 3.
Bring it.
So I didn't rank them because it's too hard. But Parrot Mountain.
Great.
I don't know if you've ever been out there.
I've heard great things about it. I have not been, though.
Way out. It's not actually too far, but I would say Newburgh area. And it's tucked in the forest. And so, again, shaded, which I love. But the building is beautiful. And they built it with all of the same wood that they chopped down. So they cut down some trees to build this gorgeous building. And they've trimmed the trees up just enough to see the view, but they didn't cut all the trees down, which I really appreciate. And they're known for their bold reds, and they're fantastic.
Ooh, sounds like I need to visit there.
Sounds like you do.
Wonderful.
The other one I love is Durant. And that's out in, I think that's considered Dayton as you're getting to McMinnville.
Yeah.
And they're pretty popular. That's, not a super uncommon one, but I love
Is that a smaller one or a bigger one?
It's huge. They have a good amount of property, and you can walk the property, and they have a map that's really cool. And then they have the cutest little gift shop, and they also process olive oil. So you can buy wine, olive oil, and plants and nursery type stuff, and walk around their acreage. It's gorgeous up there.
Agro-tourism at its best.
Seriously.
Wow.
That one's worth a visit for sure. And then my number 1 is Youngberg Hill, because that's where I got married.
Aww.
And that one's in McMinnville. Also a very, what do I want to say? Uncommon one. Not a lot of people know
off
that
the beaten
one.
path.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty far out in McMinnville, but it has the most beautiful view, very nice people, and amazing wine. My favorite thing there is their Chardonnay. That is the best Chardonnay I've ever had.
Wow. Do you have some at home?
It doesn't last long, so no, I don't. And you have to drive out there to get it, so,
You can't find it at the stores?
No, they don't sell at the stores.
Yeah, it's amazing the markup when you go to some places. Or
oh my gosh.
Like the bottle that we're drinking right now, this Stoller Pinot in a restaurant.
Golly. Over $100.
Yeah, for the bottle. But I'm thinking, just for a glass.
Yeah.
Good golly, $24
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Easy. I like the ones that are considered a boutique winery, because they don't sell to grocery stores, which, is kind of inconvenient, but it's kind of cool because it helps them stay small, but still profitable for them.
And it's kind of cool when you have a bottle of something, you have people over and you bring a bottle out and it's oh my gosh, what's that? And it's oh, have you not been here? And
yeah.
It's a little conversation starter.
It totally is. That's my favorite thing to gift clients is unique wine.
Vino. Yeah.
That's so fun. That is our coveted list. We'll have to do that again in a year and see if we have any updates.
I think we've got a lot of work to do visiting the Willamette Valley.
We should have done some research.
Boots on the ground research.
Right.
Well, we can always go after the fact.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. And pull our podcast weight around. We have tens of listeners.
Hey.
That's got to be worth one tasting, I think, right?
I agree.
So we're going to go off the script here for a second. So notice after you take a drink and put your glass down, look at the side of your glass. Do you know what legs are?
Yeah. I do.
Yeah. That's amazing. So listeners and viewers, when you take a drink of the wine and you put your glass down and the wine kind of settles down the side of the glass, when it has these different little streams, it's called legs. And some wines have it, some wines don't. And I don't know the particulars on what makes it, but this Stoller Pinot definitely has it. It's super impressive.
I thought it had to do with the age of the wine. So the older the wine is, the more legs there are. If you're listening, please let us know, because clearly we don't.
We need educating.
But this is a 2022, and it does have a lot of
I don't think it has to do with, I don't know, maybe it does, but we'll look it up. We'll Google it, listener.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought that was impressive. I drifted off when you were doing your top 3 and looked at the legs on the glass.
It is very pretty.
Impressive. Should we talk a little real estate now?
I guess
we are a real estate
should.
podcast.
Fine. Let's get into it. So a lot of people like myself like to live near wine country, but you don't necessarily want to own and operate a vineyard because that's a full-time thing. And when we're talking to folks who are maybe moving into Oregon and they don't know a lot about the areas, we like to suggest, wine country if they're interested in that. And so people always want to know the average sale price in those areas. So we'll go over that really quick. Obviously, if you're looking to buy a vineyard, it's going to be more than this.
But we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. So right now, as of last month, the average sales price in Hillsborough Forest Grove is $535. Yamhill County is $474. So if you want to live a little further out and be in true wine country, it's a pretty decent price.
Yeah.
Then Tualatin, Wilsonville, greater area, the average sale price right now is $650.
Yeah. And that's just the average. Tualatin, Wilsonville in particular have some amazing properties on acreage that have kind of like hobby vineyard type setups. Have you seen?
Yeah.
That's
really cute. Maybe that could be my thing.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Perfect.
You need a few acres, but those go up to, I've seen $6, $7, $8, $10 million places down in Tualatin, Wilsonville out on acreage with the views that are kind of to the west of Sherwood and towards wine country, but absolutely gorgeous places out there. But it's not that expensive. If you want to live close to wine country, or it's just one of the things on your list that would be a nice to have, there's some affordable places in that area.
Carlton specifically, like we just talked about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was excited to do this research because, as a broker, we have the RMLS we can look at, and we can really play with the filters and look at properties that have sold only 24 months back, but still it gives me a pretty decent picture. So I looked at properties that had between 1 and 50 acres of grapes that have sold within the past 24 months. And Joe already knows this. Otherwise I would have had him guess, but there were only 4 properties that have sold in the last 24 months with grapes.
With that between 1 and 50 acres
of grapes.
That includes a residential home, right?
And it has a residential home.
A residential home and 1 to 50 acres of grapes. That shocks me.
Right.
That's crazy.
So obviously there's like off-market deals that happen that if I dug a little deeper through our title company, I could have maybe found that. But just going on the MLS, it's a pretty low number. But the sale prices were a little lower than I thought. So that was really exciting. They're still, high, but so again, all 4 properties had between 1 and only 5 acres of grapes. So some of them had a little bit more.
And the average sale price was right at $2 million.
Yep.
Wow.
Right at $2 million. But these were all farms that were producing income off of the grapes. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And their average days on market were only 31 days.
Which is extremely low for rural property, especially multi-million-dollar rural property.
Right. So there's a demand there, apparently.
A significant demand. That is interesting. I think it's worth noting that a lot of people own land and grow grapes and then sell those grapes to the different wineries, right? Yeah. That's a huge industry in the valley where, someone has an extra 50 acres and they go out to the wineries and say, hey, would you be interested in buying these grapes if we grew these? Because a lot of the wineries like Stoller, I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing they buy a lot of the grapes out of the valley just because the bottles that they put out, they don't have that amount of grapes on their property.
That volume is insane. To sell in grocery stores all over the country, you'd have to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Good point.
So, investment wise, that's kind of an interesting deal.
Yeah, it was really fun to look at. And then I looked at the same filters in Willamette Valley with properties between 1 and 50 acres of grapes. And there are only 4 active listings at the moment.
That's crazy.
And it was interesting. So the first one that I looked at was in McMinnville. It's listed at $1.1 million. It sits on 21 acres and it has 15 acres of Pinot grapes.
Wow. That's nuts.
I know. And then the next one in Dundee is a 1.8. It sits on 4.81 acres with 3.5 acres of Pinot grapes. That one had a kind of a nicer house. It was a newly remodeled. But they had an income off of the grapes, which I thought was cool.
If you're interested in seeing these homes, we will post the listings if you go to our website, liveportland.com, and click on the podcast. And that'll take you to our podcast page. And if you click on the page for this episode, Oregon Wine Country, we'll have the link to these listings in there in case you want to go on there and check those out.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's so hard to articulate these in a podcast because they're so beautiful. But
yeah.
I
Rolling
think we'll post
hills,
some pictures.
big views, beautiful homes. Incredible. What about this one in Hillsborough?
The one in Hillsborough is listed at 2.95 and it sits on 60 acres with a 9.8 acre vineyard. It has 8.4 Pinot Noir and 1.4 Pinot Gris acres of grapes. And then it has an additional 20 to 22 suitable for prime vineyard development. So you can make it even bigger.
Yeah.
I think that was the one. Oh, there's another one. Sorry, the last one in Yamhill. It's at $2 million, and they make $100K a year in grape production. So as Joe was saying, they just grow the grapes and sell them to a bigger winery.
Yeah, and we've had clients. We actually represented the sellers on a sale in Hillsborough, and it was a 10-acre piece. The house sat on 3 acres, and they used the remaining 7 acres and just built out a vineyard. It was incredible what they did with it. It took a lot of work up front. And just so you know, you don't get the wine grapes in the first year.
No. This is an investment.
It's an investment, and it's the long play of 3 to 5 years before you start seeing a return on that investment. In the meantime, it makes your property absolutely gorgeous. Oh my gosh. And really, really cool.
Such an excellent investment. I was talking with a client who we were chatting about, buying property like this around here. And she was comparing it to Napa. And she said, they're so, Napa's amazing. It's humongous, but there are fewer vineyards. And she was guessing it's because people, grandfather in these vineyards. It's a family deal, right? It gets passed down. Vineyards don't really come on the market down there. But here you can still buy property and, plant the grapes. And I think that's really cool.
There's enough land available that you can make your own winery. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really, really cool.
Pretty cool.
So what does Oregon land use law say about wineries?
This was not as exciting to look at, I gotta say. But like you mentioned earlier, I think Oregon encourages you to grow grapes. So that's kind of cool. But for the zoning situation, a winery may be established as a permitted use on land zoned for exclusive farm use. So most of these properties we're going to see out that we've highlighted are in farm zoning anyways, or they can be on land zoned for mixed farm and forest use if the winery produces wine with a maximum annual production of less than 50,000 gallons.
And owns an on-site vineyard of at least 15 acres or owns a continuous vineyard of at least 15 acres. 15 acres is kind of that sweet spot with the different counties for creating a vineyard. Or creating a winery.
Yeah, that's a lot of space.
It's a lot of land, but there's a lot of land out there.
Right.
Yeah, when it comes to building a winery, like we talked about at the top, they'll work with you. And EFU, exclusive farm use zoning, is what a majority of all this land is, obviously. And there's a lot of restrictions. They really, you can't do short-term rental, you can't do this, you can't do that. Once you put a winery on there, boy, you can do weddings, you can do events, you can do lodging, you can do all sorts of stuff. And it's pretty incredible.
It is. There's obviously more restrictions than this, but we don't want to speak to every little thing just because we don't know,
If you're interested, give us a call. We can give you the ins and outs and help you and find the right direction to go for what you're trying to do, but it's doable.
The other thing you have to have is a nursery license, which I found. They're not that hard to get, apparently, but you have to apply before May 15th if you want to do it for the next season. It's kind of like anything where there's a couple $100 in fees, and then you have to keep the license up every year.
Yeah.
But those were really the two main things. Everything else is pretty, gets in the weeds. So.
Well, I hope this has been helpful.
Yes.
Because I just love Oregon wine country. It's like the Oregon coast. It's a fabric of what Oregon's all about. You can't really understand Oregon fully unless you've been to the Oregon coast and you've been to the, Columbia River Gorge. You've been to the high desert and Bend and the Oregon wine country. It's really part of Oregon that is so unique and so incredible. It's really, really cool. And real estate wise, this is the low end of where it's going to be. We're already seeing it. We've seen it in the last 10 or 15 years just explode. I should have done a little bit of research to see how many wineries have popped up in the last 3 to 5 years. That would be super interesting.
That would be interesting. Well,
go to our website. We'll have that info.
Guess we'll have to do another episode.
Darn it. I want to go on site.
Okay. We should really do that.
Nice.
That'd be funny.
All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
Chin chin.
Thanks for joining us today. If you're interested in finding out more about Joe, myself, or the Live Portland team, you can go to liveportland.com. Thanks for giving us a listen, and see you next time on the Off the Record podcast.